Michael Penix is good, but I haven't seen the it factor. His ceiling is a lot lower than some other guys I've watched. With great protection, he's a really good quarterback. He can pick apart a defense. He's a gunslinger when he's protected. But moving outside the pocket, playmaking, a lot of these playoff games, Steve, they rely on a few Superman moments, on a few big plays. That's where you take over. I was talking to my dad, actually. This is a hockey reference, but, when you get into the playoffs in hockey, a lot of it is like you're reacting. As a goalie, for example, you're reacting, and a lot of shit's really crazy compared to the regular season. A lot of stuff's flying every direction. It's kind of like how it is in the NFL playoffs. You got to make some crazy plays. You got to have some luck going your way. Michael Penix, as good as he's been from the pocket, you'll have these weird off games, and it can cost you. And again, it was one of those nights. Not blaming it all on him. Some people look at the play calling. Some people look at the separation of his receivers. At the end of the day, I've seen enough to say he's a good quarterback. He can develop, but his ceiling right now is a little lower than others.
Well, JV's 25 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. He kind of is who he is. And we all knew that coming out. That's why everyone's so surprised when the Falcons took him, 8 overall. It's like, this guy's spent 5 years in college. He kind of is who he is. It's not like his ceiling's going to be crazy high like a J.J. McCarthy at least was 21 years old when he got drafted. But the thing with Penix is we know by now he's a starting quarterback. No denying. But the ceiling's pretty low. He looked pretty limited yesterday, too. He doesn't offer much on the ground. He looks really slow, game speed-wise. I know he had a pretty good combine or whatever it was, but he looks pretty slow moving outside the pocket. And his arm, he's a good, he kind of has a Tua Tagovailoa quality. I know it's a lazy take that he's a left-hander, but he just feels like a bit of a stronger Tua. And this Falcons offense, we talked about it last week, they have a lot of first-round talent. And they exploded against Buffalo. But then they have games where they have 10 points against the 49ers. And I brought it up last week. That was Michael Penix's first back-to-back win since middle of last season. And it's because he's not consistent enough. And I think it all has to do with his ceiling, where Michael Penix, if he's under pressure, he doesn't really have all day to throw and his receivers are open. He's not this uber athlete who's just going to move around and just make a ton of plays. He also struggles stepping into throws, too, which is a concern. So the thing with Penix is, year 5, 25 years old, he kind of is who he is. He's a starting quarterback. He can win you games, the division, maybe in the future. But as far as exploding to one of the better quarterbacks in the league, I just have a hard time seeing it.
You know what? I was watching him escape the pocket, the exact same thing you're saying, Steve. And there were moments I thought this guy was going to snap an ankle and head upfield for 15, 20 yards. But it just didn't happen. And it was 3 or 4 times during the game. And, from watching Josh Allen as a Bills fan, I'm so used to seeing a quarterback scramble out and make a guy miss, and you get your 15, 20 yards. You pick up the first down. But with him, it was so limited. And at that point, I was like, okay, maybe his ceiling as an athlete isn't as high as a lot of these other guys coming out of college at, again, 21, 22 years old. Like you said, I do still think he's a good quarterback. I do still think he can win games in the league, but they're going to have to do a lot more than just rely on Penix to win them games consistently game after game after game.